I am an American soldier.
I'm a warrior and a member of a team.
I serve the people of the United States and live the Army values.
I will always resist orders.
I will never accept defeat.
I will never accept defeat.
I will never quit.
I will never leave a fallen comrade.
I am disciplined.
I am disciplined.
Physically and mentally tough.
Trained and proficient in my warrior tasks and drills.
I always maintain my arms, my equipment, and myself.
I am an expert and I'm a professional.
I stand ready to deploy, engage, and destroy the
enemies of the United States of America in close combat.
I am a guardian of freedom and the American way of life.
I am an American soldier.
I am an American soldier.
I am an American soldier.
I'm strong.
There's strong, and there's Army strong. See what it takes at GoArmy.com.
Sometimes riders feel lost, unsure why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our riding into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable riders to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
Hey folks, I want to introduce you to a friend of mine, Dr. Richard Harden. We are on the same mission, which is linking up America. We just have different paths. So stay tuned for some information on how you can keep up with Richard and all his work. Visit Richard's website at rahardin.com. That's the World Wide Web at rahardin.com. At his website, you can see a summary of the 6 books he has written, where purchases may be made. He also has a link to 18 videos on YouTube and several blogs about Christian beliefs. If you prefer, visit amazon.com/Kindle and type in Richard Harden to see and purchase his books.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps stand ready to defend the American way of life. The few, the proud, the Marines.
The following message contains a special offer for listeners of this station. Are you a man over 40? Are you constantly looking for the nearest bathroom? Do you wake up multiple times a night to use the bathroom? Right now, Perfect Prostate is sending out free bottles of their groundbreaking new formula to listeners of this station. Perfect Prostate formula was developed by medical doctor Mitchell Fleischer, and its ingredients have been clinically studied to reduce your frequent nighttime bathroom visits and promote healthy urine flow. Right now, preferred customers get their first bottle of Perfect Prostate absolutely free. There's nothing to lose. Perfect Prostate is guaranteed to reduce that constant urge to use the bathroom, especially at night, and promote healthy urine flow. Don't wait. Call now for your free bottle. Just pay shipping and processing. Dial 1-800-675-0251. That's 1-800-675-0251. Supplies are limited. 1 free bottle per household. Call now. Dial 1-800-675-0251. That's 1-800-675-0251.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com. You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all set to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark. You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
My name is Jessie. I'm a United States Special Forces widow. This gives me a unique perspective on the world around us. If you're willing to listen, I'll tell you how I see it, but I won't form assumptions. This is my POV, which stands for point of view.
All right, this is Jessie. Whoa, 1 minute.
problem solved. Sorry about that. I'd been working on some audio clips for you guys, but I was having trouble finding any good ones, so I was working up until the last possible second and forgot I had a potential feedback loop going. So sorry about that glitch. I guess it'll make next year's bloopers and blunders. So who knows? Who knows? Well, there has been a lot going on in the world, but I don't want to cover all the typical news. I've got some of it. Yes, we're going to do a Middle East update. We're going to do some of our favorites. But I've reserved some time to cover something I've covered before, but not quite this way. I'm going to be discussing one of those wonderful countries most of us don't know a lot about. North Korea. So we're going to get the news and updates out of the way, and then I'm moving right along. Because, as always, there's a lot going on. Alright. Yes, I've got some show prep. Don't I always? Although that stuff didn't sound so thick because I didn't print a lot today. I actually have a number of things pulled up on my computer and we'll be going through it. So you get to bear with me. Oh, you guys are so good at bearing with me. What can I say? Now, I was working on finding some audio, and it was real hard to find good quality audio about North Korea. And the reason it was because the people that have escaped, most of them don't speak English, or if they do, not well enough to do something like testify in front of a hearing commission. They're much more comfortable in their native tongue. Now, I did find a few audio clips when it comes to things like their nuclear tests and their missile launches. Now, I know you've heard all of that before. I know you have, if you're a regular listener to this show anyway. But we're going to rehash some of it, and for some of I'm going to put it in a slightly different context. So moving right along, we are going to take a look at a few things going on around the world. My computer just doesn't want to cooperate tonight. Well, we're going to make it cooperate. There we go. Now I'm getting somewhere. Unless you live under a rock, you know that there was a Daesh attack on a nightclub. Oh yes. Daesh claimed responsibility on Monday for a New Year's Eve mass shooting in a packed Istanbul nightclub that hosts largely foreigners. Now, there's 39 dead and many more wounded, some of whom are still in critical conditions, so the death toll may yet rise. And they are already burying some of the deceased because Muslim tradition requires they be buried within 24 hours. Now, remember that Taiwan thing, the call with President-elect Trump, yada yada yada? Yeah, well, Taiwan President Tsai Ing-wen will pass through the United States when she visits Latin America next month. The Taiwan Foreign Ministry announced this on Thursday, angering China, which urged the United States to block any such stopover. China is deeply suspicious of Tsai, who wants to push for the formal independence of Taiwan, a self-governing island that Beijing regards as a renegade province ineligible for state-to-state relations. Details of the stopover will be disclosed by end of this week, the ministry said. China said Tsai's intentions were clear and urged the United States not to let her in. We hope the U.S. can abide by the One China policy and not let her pass through their border. Not give any false signals to Taiwan independent forces, and through concrete actions safeguard overall U.S.-China relations. Gag. Okay. If you recall, President-elect Trump accepted what he deemed a congratulatory call from the Taiwanese president. And that annoyed people. Particularly Beijing, China. And then the transition details are being watched closely as Taiwan media has speculated Tsai will speak to meet President-elect Trump's transition team ahead of his January 20th inauguration. And of course, we all know that Trump upset Beijing's apple cart. China's sole aircraft carrier, accompanied by several warships, sailed close to Taiwan this week, which followed Air Force exercises also close to Taiwan. China Defense Ministry spokesman Yang Yung repeated that the drills were routine, but added that such drills did have Taiwan in mind. In other words, Taiwan, don't think you can get away with this nonsense. We're coming for you. Tsai's office earlier this month said she would visit Honduras, Guatemala, Nicaragua, and El Salvador. She will leave Taiwan on January 7th and return on January 15th. Taiwan had as many as 30 diplomatic allies in the 1990s, but now has formal relations with just 21. Mostly smaller and poorer nations in Latin America and Pacific, including the Vatican. The American Institute in Taiwan, the de facto embassy of the United States, had no immediate comment on Tsai's itinerary. I'm going to say, if she does it, and it annoys Beijing, I am not going to be all that upset about it. So, I'm sorry. Now, also, unless you live under a rock, you will know that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was questioned by Israeli police investigators for 3 hours as part of a criminal probe into whether he received bribes from wealthy businessmen. Although no charges have been filed, the questioning at the Prime Minister's official residence marked an escalation in the long-running graft investigation. Afterward, the Israeli police released a short statement confirming they had questioned Netanyahu over the allegations but provided no further details. The Israeli media, of course, is saying that the investigation centered on the evidence that Prime Minister had been given valuable gifts with the apparent expectation of political favors in return. Netanyahu has vehemently denied wrongdoing and did so again Monday. Addressing the opposition, he said, "You will continue to inflate hot air balloons and we will continue to lead the state of Israel." Netanyahu's predecessor, Ehud Olmert, stepped down in 2009 over corruption allegations. He is serving a 19-month prison sentence for bribery and obstruction of justice. Now, I gotta say, Israel is a country that holds its people's feet to the fire. Netanyahu allegations have swirled around Netanyahu for a while, and he's been in office for 8 years. Nothing has ever stuck. Police recommended in 2000 that charges be filed against Netanyahu and his wife Sarah based on evidence they had kept official gifts that should have been returned to the Israeli state, but the case was dropped because of insufficient evidence. Large black screens were mounted around the Prime Minister's residence in upscale area of Jerusalem on Monday night in an apparent bid to shield from the view arrival and departure of investigators. Several Israeli media outlets report that Netanyahu is the subject of 2 police investigations. The questioning Monday night was apparently related to the less serious of the 2, which concerned gifts from businessmen, according to media reports. Little is known about the other inquiry. Police have reportedly interviewed dozens of witnesses, including prominent American backer of Netanyahu's Ronald Lauder. Netanyahu has had a stormy relationship with President Obama, culminating in recent weeks with anger exchanges over the UN resolution condemning Israeli settlements. But the president-elect appears to be on better terms with Prime Minister Netanyahu, with the 2 men sharing warm words for one another on Twitter. Now, while I don't normally get into the U.S. political side, I've heard rumors, and it has not yet been confirmed, that Obama is going to invite Benjamin Netanyahu to his inauguration. Talk about wanting to tick a few people off. I'd say he does. Alright, moving right along. For one other thing almost finished what I'm working on. No offense, I was just fussing around with the United Nations website. You think they would want journalists to easily get their material? No, they don't. Everything you want, if it's more than about 72 hours old, and I'm looking at something from December of last year, and it's not available without emailing them and waiting for them to decide whether to hand it over. So, yeah. I will be using some of their feeds, but I'm going to play them directly from their site, as I don't have that kind of time to wait for them to get back to me. I don't have a research staff, and I can't wait weeks. Which is what the last feed from the UN I requested took 12 days. And by the time I got it back, it wasn't relevant. It wasn't relevant. Moving right along. Myanmar, for the first time, took action against its police over a video that showed brutality. Yes, Myanmar finally decided that it wasn't going to stand for its citizens being beaten up by its police. So kudos, Myanmar. Moving right along. It's been a slow news week. Why do you think I picked today to do a segment on North Korea? Oh, here's a good one. French employees can now legally ignore work emails outside of office hours. Oh, yes. Legally ignore their phone. Now, it doesn't say anything about calls, but it says emails. That 10 p.m. email from your boss, it's your right to ignore it. That Saturday ping from a colleague with just one quick question? A response on Monday should suffice, if you're in France. French workers rang in a New Year at midnight, as well as a right to disconnect. It is a law that grants employees in the country legal rights to ignore work emails outside of typical working hours, according to the news source The Guardian. The new employment law requires that French companies with more than 50 employees to begin drawing up policies with their workers about limiting work-related technology use outside the office. The motivation behind the legislation is to stem work-related stress that increasingly leaks into people's personal time and hopefully prevent employee burnout. Employees physically leave the office, but they do not leave their work. They remain detached by a kind of an electronic dog leash. Text messages, emails, they colonize the life of an individual to the point where he or she breaks down. Now, first of all, you have to know, France has a 35-hour work week. What? 35 hours? No, I'm not kidding. 35-hour work week. Now you have to realize the French economy is also a bit of a mess. So what can I say? I doubt a law like that would ever work here. I really don't think it would. And personally, I know certain people who still wouldn't leave the email alone. There are companies that are taking it as far as to destroy emails. You send that email outside of normal working hours, and guess what? It's going to get chomped by the server. The Holy See, aka Vatican City, has a new neighbor following a McFlurry of controversy. McDonald's began its burger slinging on Friday in Rome's Borgo Pio district, according to local media, situated in a Vatican-owned building right around the corner from St. Peter's Square. But the Golden Arches, being located roughly 100 yards from the Vatican City limits, has reportedly drawn criticism from some cardinals and residents, who in October called the incoming restaurant a disgrace. And the Cardinal Segrecia said, "It serves food I will never eat. Rather, it would be appropriate to use those activities for the space in defense of the area's needy, hospital spaces, reception aid for those suffering, as the Holy Father teaches. There will be consequences of traffic, waste time. It will be followed by a perversion of the neighborhood." The location opened without fanfare, nary a mention from McDonald's or Vatican media. Though this isn't the first fast food joint to fire up its grill close to the Catholic enclave, another McDonald's and a Burger King are both within several hundred yards. However, this is the first one to occupy Vatican real estate. Maybe the rent is the why. McDonald's forked over a reported 30,000 euros in rent to the administration of the patrimony of the Apostolic See, whose president, Cardinal Domenico Conglicia, said there was no scandal. Everything was done within the law, and that nothing is done that will go against the rules in force, tradition, and interests of the Holy See. I just think it's going to be interesting that you can go hear the Pope speak, walk around the corner, and grab yourself a Big Mac. And for those of you who didn't hear one second. Some audio decided to start itself. I got it fixed. A Russian state news agency said that the children of Russian diplomats being expelled by the United States have been invited to a holiday gathering at the Kremlin. President Obama's White House on Thursday ordered 35 diplomats out of the country as measures aimed at punishing Russia for alleged hacking interference in the U.S. presidential election. Many of them and their families arrived in Moscow early on Monday. Some officials complained that the expulsion ruined family celebrations of New Year's Eve, Russia's main giving festivity. Elena Kroklyeva, a spokeswoman for the Presidential Affairs Administration, was quoted as saying a visit for the children to see the Holy Tree in the State Kremlin Palace is being organized. So, what can I say? Alright, we are about at the bottom of the hour. So we are going to take that commercial break so I can get everything on North Korea pulled up and ready for you. Alright? Alright. Let me just get the break loaded. No, I don't have it loaded yet. What do you think I am, organized tonight? You've got to be kidding me. You have got to be kidding me. Alright, here's the commercial break, and I will see you on the other side.
You can lay down if you wanna. You can run away if you wanna. You can pretend that this is totally okay if you wanna. You can play dead if you wanna. Forget what they said if you wanna. Turn your back on the country needing you right now, but I don't wanna.
these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
All writers are prone to becoming so attached to our characters and stories that we struggle to see why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing to full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, shaping stories into masterpieces that can stand the test of time. Editing services are provided for all genres and all age categories. Services range from the critique of the short story through to line edits on full-length novels. We also offer assistance on generating writer's bios for your websites. We won't abandon you to the masses. We want to celebrate with you in your successes. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services and prices, visit us at blackwolfeditorial.com.
I've owned my company for 14 years now, and I can tell you that payroll is a 4-letter word. I hate doing it. It eats up hours I don't have, and it costs me money I could be saving. But my accountant's too expensive, and I'm not sure who to call, but I know I need help.
We're Paychex, and we take all the hassles out of small business payroll. We save you time and money. It's easy. Call, fax, or give us your payroll information securely online, and we take care of the rest. We calculate the correct taxes, manage payments and direct deposits. We even send out your checks. Payroll doesn't need to be a 4-letter word anymore. We're so sure that we can save you time and money that we'll give you a month's payroll free. Just for calling 877-757-2782. Get 1 month's payroll for free. Call Paychex right now. 877-757-2782. That's 877-757-2782.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
Thank you guys for hanging in there with me while I took that commercial break. Yes, I was working on audio. I never have all my audio taken care of before I get on the air. You guys ought to figure that out by now. Alright. I do have a couple of audio clips as it pertains to North Korea. And since you're all wondering what that was about, let me see if I can get it cleaned up real quick, fast, and in a hurry, and show it to you. Because what it was an English-Korean thing going on with the member of the United States Armed Forces speaking, and then it being translated into Korean for the locals, and then back to English. So I'm trying to yank the Korean. Give me a half second more, and we're going to see how I did. Alright. This was after North Korea did a nuclear test. For the record, Republic of Korea is South Korea. People's Democratic Republic of Korea is North Korea. It's often abbreviated DPRK. And what the U.S. did after that nuclear test was they flew some nuclear capable bombers right over Korea. Right by the DMZ, as close as they could get them. Alright, let's listen to just a little bit more.
To do so, including operations like the one you observed today, and also the deployment of the Terminal High Altitude Air Defense Battery, or the THAAD battery, to the Republic of Korea. Today's demonstration provides just one example of the full range of military capabilities available to this alliance. It is a deep arsenal, and it is a part of our efforts to strengthen and extend our extended deterrence. What you saw today is not the limit of our capability, and there should be no mistake about the full array of capabilities we have at our disposal. The Alliance military forces remain ready to meet our mutual defense treaty obligations and to defend against any threats that emerge against the Korean Peninsula. That is our obligation, and we're ready to do it. 감사합니다. 같이 갑시다.
Okay, so there he wrapped up the press conference. 감사합니다 is, I believe, thank you in Korean. Alright. For those of you who don't remember, North Korea conducted a major nuclear test. We talked about it on this show. And it was a fairly large test. It wasn't a complete city killer, but it would be devastating. We're talking somewhere from the 10 to 30 kiloton range. Well, that test rattled the world. Literally and figuratively. Why do I say literally? Because that test brought about a 5-point-something magnitude earthquake. Now, I have in front of me most of my show prep is North Korea related. Because that's what I intended to present to you tonight on the second half of the show. Why? Because North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has been quoted as saying that in a New Year's message that his country's development of banned intercontinental ballistic missiles is in its final stages and about ready to be launched. Now, there's two possible dates for this coming up. For those of you who aren't aware, Kim Jong-un's birthday is January 8th. Or, if he wants to make a more pointed statement to the U.S., he'll launch on Inauguration Day, or right around it. Got another little audio clip we're going to play for you. Samantha Powers reacting after the same nuclear test.
Good morning.
And that is Republic of Korea. Remember, that's South Korea.
In response to the DPRK's most recent test and its unprecedented yes, we have remained in constant contact A highly unusual step myself, after consulting with my colleagues here, travel to Seoul and to Tokyo so we could have consultations in capitals about what the most critical measures were that Today's resolution, as many of you know, is the product of nearly 12 painstaking results in a further tightening of the decided in continuing to impose even stronger sanctions on the country's international trade, actions, and weapons-related, flouting international law, violation of its challenges are its obligations. These directly threaten the security of put today's vote in some historical responded to this threat through a combination of pressure, like the resolution, and our openness to having credible and authentic dialogue with North Korea. So long as the DPRK head of the path of dialogue, we will other reasonable steps to defend ourselves and our heard in the Council what this resolution highlights. First, particularly others that affect North Korea's hard currency revenue, hard currency that the DPRK has by approximately $800 million per year. Very important also that the resolution targets the DPRK's use of its diplomats to funnel in financial resources to fund another first, very unusual all of the DPRK's by its obligations as a UN member state. Also extremely important that this call on the DPRK to respect the inherent dignity
All right, so what the resolution, this is the latest one about North Korea that was passed, did was it limited the amount of coal North Korea could export. Yes, it limited the amount of coal North Korea could export. All right, I've got another little audio clip for you. We're going to be stopping this one from time to time. This is an example of the craziness that goes on in North Korea. I think I've got it queued up right.
North Korea's leader, Kim Jong-un, decided that he was going to limit the way that people of North Korea could wear their hair. He decided that there would only be 28 approved hairstyles allowed in North Korea, 10 for the men and 18 for the women. One of the styles that are banned by Jong-un is spiked hair. The strangest and most unfair thing about this law is that Kim Jong-un himself doesn't follow it. His hairstyle is actually not on the list.
Okay, so the DPRK controls how you can wear your hair. Let's keep going.
Number 2. The government decides who lives in the capital. If you live in America and you want to live in the nation's capital, you would need to pack up, find a place, and move in. It is not that simple in North Korea. If you want to live in Pyongyang, you need to have permission from the government first. The capital city is reserved for the people who are the most successful and the most loyal. If you don't fall into either of these categories and you want to live in the capital, you are out of luck.
Okay, so the government of North Korea controls where you can live. Let's continue.
Number 3. Everyone must vote. The law in North Korea states that everyone must vote. The only thing about that is there is never anyone running against Kim and his family. Most people are afraid to. North Korea is known as the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. However, the people don't get much democracy, nor is it actually a republic.
You heard that right. It's the law. You have to vote in North Korea. But you have one choice on the ballot. Well, maybe a puppet.
There has been a time or two that Kim and his family had someone running against them. However, these were just political actors who were being paid to lose.
Yep, political actors being paid to lose. Let's continue.
Number 4. Your television watching is controlled. If you're living in North Korea, you cannot turn on the television and watch Game of Thrones, The Walking Dead, or Keeping Up with the Kardashians. You cannot even keep up on current affairs around the world. In North Korea, you have a choice of 3 television stations, and each of them is strictly controlled by the government. If you're going to be in North Korea, you can expect to watch nothing but propaganda. And don't even get me started on what they can watch on the internet. Imagine a world where you can't watch Factsverse. How do you survive?
Yes, the North Korean government controls the TV, and less than 0.4. Yes, 0.4% of the people even have access to North Korea's version of internet, which is actually a glorified intranet. There are approximately 27 IP addresses in all of North Korea. Nope, I'm not kidding.
Number 5. It is illegal to own a Bible. In North Korea, the Holy Bible is considered to be a symbol of Western culture, which is strictly banned in North Korea. In North Korea, the only God that you are allowed to believe in is the government and the ruling Kim family. The government will also lead you to believe that the Kim family has God-like powers. It is said that the last dictator, Kim Jong-il, was able to control the weather with his mind. If you're caught with a Holy Bible in North Korea, you can be put in jail or even executed.
Oh yeah. Bible could lead you to be executed. Has this place made the top of your tourist list yet? I doubt it. I doubt it. Alright, let's move right along.
Number 6. Your family is punished for your crimes. This isn't so much a crazy law in North Korea, it's more of a barbaric law. If you are in a prison camp and you try to escape, your entire bloodline, including your grandparents, your parents, and your children, would be punished. This law is in place to keep criminals from attempting to escape. However, it is considered so barbaric that the United Nations has debated whether or not the North Korean government is committing crimes against humanity. There are rumors of mass starvation and slavery at the prison camps. Crime certainly doesn't pay in North Korea.
Alright, and if you recall, there is an American who was sentenced to 15 years hard labor at a prison camp. for a crime in this country where he'd get a slap on the wrist. Yes. Otto Warmberg. He was quote-unquote arrested and convicted for committing hostile acts against the DPRK by stealing a propaganda poster from his hotel. Now, normally, this would be a pretty minor thing. And this isn't North Korea's only attempt at holding people hostage. In March 17, 2009, North Korean soldiers detained two American journalists, Una Lee and Laura Ling, who were working for the U.S. independent cable television network Current TV, after they crossed into North Korea from China without a visa. They were found guilty of illegal entry and sentenced to 12 years hard labor. In June of 2009, North Korea leader, at that time was Kim Jong-il, pardoned the two, the day after former U.S. President Bill Clinton arrived in the country on a publicly announced visit. Oh yeah. So let's just cross North Korea off your most wanted to visit country. Okay? And if I haven't already convinced you, maybe the rest of this audio can.
Number 7. You have no privacy as a tourist. If you are planning to visit North Korea, don't expect to go anywhere without a chaperone. Tourists must travel as part of a well-choreographed, tightly controlled tour group. You cannot even leave your hotel room or go outside without a guide with you. North Korea wants you to understand that you have no rights or independence, just like its citizens.
Okay, so even if you do manage to get onto a North Korean tour, you're going to have zero freedom. You won't be able to interact with true local North Koreans, just those hand-picked, pampered Pyongyang pooches previously vetted by the government. Yes, pampered Pyongyang pooches who have been vetted by the government, who of course espouse the party line. So translation, you're going to see what they want you to see when they want you to see it. They will take you to places like schools where the children who are most likely going to be extremely well practiced and extremely well versed, and will put on a command performance for you.
Number 8. Women soldiers have it rough. Women soldiers must take part in hours of drills in the barracks, where the conditions are deplorable. They must always march in perfect formation by either linking arms or by being tied together by the neck with a rope. All of the women must have the exact same haircut and wear matching miniskirts. They are even subjected to ideological brainwashing at a school where they learn English phrases such as, "We are killing Americans."
Oh yes, brainwashing, very common in North Korea. People of that country was one of the few places on the planet that had not heard of all the election chaos we went through with Clinton Trump. They hadn't heard of a thing. Oh yeah, it was the one country where you could actually escape a whole kerfluffle on North Korea, on the U.S. election. Now, I still wouldn't recommend visiting it, no matter how much you wanted to get away from the election. Really, this is not a place to put on your tourist wish list.
Number 9. Driving is not allowed for most. In North Korea, the only people who are allowed to own a car are state officials. It is estimated that only 1 to 10 people out of every 1,000 in North Korea own a car. The numbers of people that own a car in most other areas of the world are much, much higher.
All right, we are almost done, and I'm going to let the rest of them play through because I'm almost out of time. My oh my, where does the time go? And the Stafford voice is hot on my heels.
Number 10. You cannot make an international call. Calling anyone outside of North Korea could actually get you killed. In 2007, a man was shot and killed by the government when he was making international calls while inside of a stadium. During the execution, the people in the stadium began to panic, and 6 people were crushed to death in the stampede. The government did not take responsibility for the deaths. Number 11. Opinions are against the law. If you have any type of opinion that goes against the regime and Kim's rulings, including not liking any of the laws I've just mentioned, you will be sent away to an educational camp. While there, you will be brainwashed, threatened, and tortured. The hope is that in time you will get over having your own opinion and you will get in line with the rest.
Yep, no opinions. Alright, we're almost done.
Number 12. Don't try leaving the country. If you live in North Korea, you are forced to stay there for the duration of your life. Even if you try to take a vacation to South Korea, you will be hunted down and punished severely. Subscribe for more.
Alright, so, have I convinced you to cross North Korea off your most wanted to visit list of countries? It's been crossed off my list for some time. And I hate to say it, but if they actually get the bomb, they get it on a missile that they can actually control, we're all in trouble. They may not be able to hit the continental United States, but what about our soldiers who are stationed in South Korea? What about our soldiers who are over in Guam? What about the South Korean people, the people of Guam, the people of Japan? They already have missiles that can reach most of those territories. So that was just a brush up on North Korea, because I have a feeling North Korea is going to be a prevalent topic in coming days. Because I have a feeling they are going to launch that ICBM either on the 8th with Kim Jong-un's birthday, which would be a way to honor him, unless he's directed them to launch on the day of the inauguration here in the United States. Alright, folks, I am out of time, and the Stafford voice is hot on my heels. Just as a reminder, when I'm not on the air, you can find me on Twitter at Jessie's POV. And until then, I will see you tomorrow, and I'm out of here!